Hello, everyone. My name is Thomas Kokel. I'm the CEO of Kokel Consulting. Here we are at our website where you can find a lot of interesting articles about COAs. And today I'm going to read our article number 4, Getting COA Strategy Right at the First Time. Lessons learned from multi-center trials. What makes a robust COA strategy? A robust clinical outcome assessment strategy starts with a precise articulation of treatments, intended benefits, and how these should manifest in people's daily life. Instead of asking which questionnaire can we add, the core question becomes which aspects of feeling and functioning matter the most, and how will we demonstrate change in these. A strong strategy therefore links concept of interest directly to the endpoint model, the choice of instruments, and the planned analysis. Such a strategy is also explicitly patient-focused. It reflects insight from qualitative work from patients and caregivers about worst aspects of living with the condition and what constitutes a meaningful improvement. It aligns those insights with clinical and regulatory expectations, selecting instruments that have evidence of content validity, reliability, responsiveness, and interpretability in the relevant population. Finally, a robust COA strategy is operationally realistic. It considers site workload, patient burden, and the realities of implementing COAs consistently across many regions and vendors. Common pitfalls in global trials. Global multi-center trials are vulnerable to several recurring pitfalls that can undermine COA data. One is treating translation as a last-minute, purely linguistic exercise. Without a structured process for translation, cultural adaptation, and cognitive debriefing, items may lose their intended meaning, introducing bias or become unacceptable in certain cultures. This can erode comparability across countries and complicate pooled analysis. Another frequent problem is overambition. Protocols sometimes accumulate numerous COA instruments and assessment time points to satisfy all stakeholders. In practice, this can overwhelm patients and sites, leading to rushed or skipped assessments, lower data quality, and high rate of missing data. A third pitfall is insufficient planning for licensing, instrument availability, and COA migration timelines. Delay in approvals or device readiness can jeopardize first patient in or force protocol amendments. In addition, training is often estimated. Investigators, raters, or coordinators may receive limited guidance on standardized administration, handling of difficult situations, or the importance of not coaching patients. Inconsistent application of instructions across dozens of countries can introduce noise that dilutes treatment effects. Finally, the lack of clear data quality monitoring plan for COAs means emerging issues, as particular sites or regions may go unnoticed until the database log, when they are costly and impossible to correct. Lessons learned from multi-center studies. Experience from large multinational programs shows that trials with successful COA implementation share several features. First of all, COA strategy or the COA strategy is defined early, often at the same time as the overall endpoint or statistical strategy, rather than after protocol finalization. This early starts allow time for patient engagement activities, instrument selection, licensing, translation, and where needed, migration to electronic formats. Second, sponsors that involve patients and clinicians as partners in designing the COA strategy report fewer later stage changes. Co-creation sessions with patient groups, clinicians, and operation staff helps ensure that the selected concepts are relevant, instruments are acceptable, and schedule of assessments are realistic in real-world clinical workflows. This upfront investment reduces the risk of late protocol amendments triggered by feasibility issues or external feedback. Third, successful multicenter trials use standardized training and support structures. They deploy harmonized training material, certification where appropriate, clear administration manuals, and help desk support for sites. They also established COA-focused metrics in study dashboards, such as completion rates at each visit, timing adherence, and item-level missing data. When issue arrives, for example, one region showing systematically lower completion or atypical response patterns, teams can intervene with targeted retraining or operational support. Finally, there is a consistent lesson about simplicity. Trials that have focused on a lean set of high-value COA endpoints, closely aligned with the primary study objectives, tend to produce cleaner data and more convincing stories than those that attempt to capture every possible concept. Multi-center experience suggests that less but better is particularly important when dozens of hundred sites are involved. Practical guide to building a COA strategy plan. Building a practical COA strategy plan can be approached as a structured, repeatable process. As a useful starting point is a short COA strategy charter that defines the target treatment benefits, the key concepts of interest, the priority endpoints, and the role COA data will play in regulatory and HTA submissions. This document should be created with input from clinical, biostatistics, regulatory, market access, operations, and COA specialists. The next step is to select COA types and candidate instruments for each priority concept. For example, symptoms such as pain or fatigue may require PRO instruments. Functional capacity may call for a combination of PRO and performance outcomes. Clinician-observed signs can be captured with clinician-reported scales. For each candidate instrument, teams should review evidence on content, validity, and psychometrics in the indication and age group of interest, any previous regulatory use, availability of translations, and licensing conditions. Once instruments are chosen, the operational build-out begins. This includes drafting a realistic schedule of assessments that fit visit flows, estimating respondent burden, deciding which measures will be paper, electronic, or mixed mode. It also requires mapping key milestones and dependencies, license execution, receipt of official versions, translations and cultural adaptation work, user acceptance testing of COA screens, and preparation of training material. These items should be built into the overall clinical development and startup timelines rather than managed in isolation. A complete strategy plan also specifies governance and oversight. This can include appointing a COA lead or small COA working group, defining roles and responsibility for interactions with instrument owners and vendors, and establishing clear line of communication with study team. It should outline data quality monitoring approaches, what will be tracked, how often, and who is responsible for reviewing and acting on COA metrics. Finally, the plan should outline a high level how COA results will be analyzed, interpreted, and communicated in study reports, publications, and value dossiers, so that implementation decisions are always made with the end use of the data in mind. So, what is the conclusion and key takeaways? Getting COA strategy right the first time is both a scientific and an operational challenge, especially in global multicenter trials. When COAs are selected late, implemented inconsistently, or overloaded into an already complex protocol, the result is often compromised data that do not fully support the trial's objectives. By contrast, a well-designed strategy rooted in a patient-relevant concepts, aligned with regulatory expectations, and tailored to operational realities can transform COA data into a powerful, credible component of the evidence package. The main lessons are clear. Start COA planning early. Involve patients, clinicians, and COA experts in defining concepts and endpoints. Keep the assessment battery focused and feasible. Invest in high-quality translation, training, and monitoring, and treat COA work as a strategic pillar of program design rather than a box-ticking exercise. Applied consistently, these principles help sponsors build COA strategies that withstand the complexity of global multicenter research and deliver insights that truly reflect the patient experience. Thank you very much.